Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, guys, gals, and NB pals, to FallapaTWOza 2, a $2,000 prize duos Fall Guys tournament sponsored by the community. We're coming back at you hot with some semifinals action. We've just seen the quarterfinals matches underway alongside my good co-host here, Philly. Philly,
hello.
What have we seen today?
What haven't we seen? I feel like we've seen it all today. We've seen some dominating performances. We've seen high scores, almost matching the highest score of the tournament, pulled in by Leap Fall Mountain earlier. We saw 4,900. We saw 4,800. Just not enough to get to that 5,100 mark. And then on the bottom half of the bracket, we saw some really close matches. That round 3, it could have gone either way. But unfortunately, for the losing teams, it didn't swing in their favor, as we see these two teams that just clutched it out now have to face each other coming up shortly.
Exactly. And all of these teams have been just very strong, driving forward their wins against their opponents, in most cases in very dominating fashion. And I'm very excited for the first match that we have here.
Oh yeah, and this first match, as soon as I saw that this was happening, like as soon as the first round ended, I was like, or as soon as the quarterfinals had ended, I was like, I am already looking forward to 2 peas in a pod versus Trip and X, because if they had gone head to head against each other, I mean, they obviously crowns wouldn't have swung this way, but they both put together just phenomenal scores, as I mentioned before. A difference of 70 points between them and their scores right now, and like what's high score they just brought to the table. And now they had some time to reset. Just, here we go. Because that score doesn't matter. You want to keep striking the iron while it's hot. But now you're just back at a situation. You have 0. Your opponent has 0. It's a full reset. Now let's bring it. And let's see some epic gaming moments.
Nice, Susie.
And now we're going to see. Let's see where the spawns are. Because I feel like spawns are very, very important here.
Nice. Yeah, I'm on you.
Absolutely, yeah. Well. You always are looking for a front spot, obviously, but more to the right is what you want to see. Bear and Essence both getting the nice spawns, and you can see it's showing right here. They're front of the pack. Bear gets hit by a snowball on his way by, another one, sending him to the middle of the pack here. Trip and X is right behind Essence, though. Essence is taking this nice line through the middle, avoiding all the punching fists. And the perfect Superman dive over, too.
Oh my goodness, this is quite a run. Taking the middle is ultimately the fastest if you can do exactly what Essence did. And now it's just 2 good flips away, and that is a phenomenal gold right there. Coming into the semifinals strong.
I mean, we know, like with us, like we're so good with medals, like 2 crowns, and it's done.
2 crowns and it's done. You hear them talking with such confidence. They know that they're good with these medals, and they're proving it. Coming out strong. Gold, silver medals across the board for all of our participants aside from that. So it's all we're just watching now. All 4 of our competitors watching this poor witch do some jumping jacks.
Man, I don't know what's going to move first, the witch or the snowball. I'm still just sitting here in awe of the strats that we just saw Essence use right there, with the slope going down and then the Superman dive across.
Honestly, a perfect run to start out this semifinals action. Let's look at our teams right now. Bear and Essence together. Essence is Spark City and Stewart's Love Child. That team no longer with us right now. They got knocked out in the second round, but Essence is carrying the torch, saying, hey, you know what? If you guys can't do it, I'll do it for you. Teaming up with Bear, who's making a first-time appearance in FallapaTWOza and coming in real strong.
Yeah, Bear is looking absolutely fantastic. And as you see there, ex-number 1 Pike player, EUW, in League of Legends. And, being a number 1 in any game, especially one as large as League of Legends, that they're a gamer. And they're taking over their gaming skills, bringing it over to Fall Guys, and showing us, look, I can do it everywhere. I can compete in any game that I'm going to try.
That's right. And we've talked about the diversity. We've talked about the diversity of Fall Guys players. you know, and their backgrounds, a lot of the times it's come from speedrunning. There's a lot of really prominent speedrunning players who play this game. But if you look at the diversity of the players in this setting right now, the 8 players that remain on these 4 teams, not a whole lot of speedrunners. You know, they're coming from shooting games, professional shooting games. They're coming from all sorts of backgrounds. Rocket League, some of these guys play. So, and it's all kind of wrapped around this one really quirky game. It's been so exciting to see, very enchanting to see, you could say.
Yeah, it is always interesting, as you said, just all the different backgrounds, because typically it's just everyone follows the same pattern, yet all the different paths led everyone to this one game. It's something you rarely see. You just don't see that happen often at all. And that's why we love Fall Guys. It brings together so many different types of communities, and God, I feel like it just brings over, you know, it brings them together. It's something to bond over. It's cool.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, you hear Two Peas in a Pod, they were speaking a little bit about how they're okay with the medals. They're good with the medals. They're going to drive those gold medals home all the time. But then you get a game like DoorDash, right? And you just can't be so sure anymore. We're now looking at a situation where you can't really secure the medals in the races. So maybe, you know, coming back to bite them a little bit with a statement like that. And then you also get games like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw Essence actually take home I think I saw it correctly, with the pink medal in that DoorDash, because they had fallen behind in the crowd. And then, as you said, yeah, you get to a tail tag situation, and there are the big Edis. You can get out of bounds if you play it properly, but this isn't a gold medal guarantee. There's no guarantee that you'll even make it through this game. There's so much with tail tag that it can just go all over the place. And yeah, you know, maybe it's easy to say, oh, we can get the medals, but you also need the games to go your way. If you're going to be talking about medals, you need all those exact races that you're good at as well.
Exactly. And looking around the arena here, it's another tail tag with no yeets out of the map. Oh no, there is one.
We have one. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. Okay, it was the perspective I was looking at had it off the screen for such a long time there, but already seeing the players trying to use it to their advantage. This is what I like to see, honestly.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, this is the situation that you mentioned earlier. There's only one yeet. There's only one way to get out of the map. And now some players, are they just going to try to avoid that pathway? Because even NPCs love going over to the yeet. And as we see,
you saw it with AAA for a second there. Oh, Berritory is out of the map. Look at that. And they're running around. I like this strategy. You know, it's pretty likely that you're going to see 2 competitors get out of the map. AAA almost manages it. He's running away from that spot. You know, he's going to a place where maybe he won't draw attention. If one of his opponents gets out of the map, he doesn't want to get into a sumo wrestling match with them. He's going to try and keep his tail the best that he can. You're not even safe, even if you get out of the map with these competitors, folks.
Yeah, absolutely not. And if you're Bear and you're running there, is that your way of trying to hide the fact that you're out of the map? Are you trying not to show them your hand, per se, that like, oh, they might not pick up on the fact that I'm out, and they might just be looking to do something else potentially because of that?
That could be it. That could be it. In any case, all 4 of our players moving on into the next game of this episode. Now, reminder to everybody at home, we're only playing one matchup at a time. Once we've gotten to the semifinals, all of the focus is going to be on these top 4 teams now.
Yeah, and Professor X actually took home the gold medal in that tail tag. So big gold right there. And as we go on to Freezy Peak, a race situation. Now let's see if the 2 Peas in a Pod can bring home that gold medal.
They had the confidence, right? They were talking about how we can bring those gold medals home. Bear is actually sitting in the prime position on the left side. AAA is actually sitting in the prime position on the right side. You can see that they cut across the snowy platform right into the middle there, and they're both speed running across this level and right up at the front of the pack. All 3 of our players right now. Essence got the worst spawn. He's a little bit in the back. 8 can qualify here, though.
Yeah, and AAA actually grabbed Berritory there. That was an interesting grab right before the fans, trying to get them to get the rag doll and hopefully just fall off that fan platform. Now, unfortunately, it didn't work out like that. But that's that chippy gameplay I'm talking about. Round 1, it doesn't matter. It's semifinals. And you know that both these teams can win a crown at any given moment. So you might as well just go for it. If you have a shot at them, go for it.
Absolutely. And who brings home that gold medal? It's looking like it's going to be Professor X this time. You know, I'm actually kind of like, I'm really hung up on the comment that we heard from Two Peas in a Pod saying, we got the medals. The confidence is really there, and I love to hear that. But, you know, who are you dealing with? You're dealing with Trippin X, and this team doesn't mess around. Professor X has been winning crowns. This team has basically gone 9 for 9 throughout the tournament on the crowns right now. So you can't underestimate them.
No, absolutely not. Professor X and Trippin X just in general. Phenomenal game. I mean, you don't put up the score you put up last round if you're not gamers and you're not very good at this game and you can't secure the medals yourself. So, I mean, Two Peas in the Pod, very confident. You love to see confidence, but you also have to back up your confidence. Now in a roll-off situation, who's going to be the first to grief? Are they going to coordinate? Are you going to try and get a 2-on-1 grab pop like we saw earlier? Who knows? I'll be very interested to see which strats go down here.
Remember, we're looking at two teams who have historically gone on to win the crowns just all the way across the board in all of the matches they've played, but only one player is going to walk away with the crown this time, ladies and gentlemen.
We're seeing here right now, it looks like they're playing pretty passive away from each other. No one's really around each other to grab each other at this moment, but I don't think that's going to last. I think there's going to start being some aggression soon.
You can see that they're really close to each other there. And it's coming into play, you know, like both of those players are standing right next to each other. Who's going to make the first grab?
Yeah, and you always constantly have to look at your surroundings and where you're standing. And that's what these players are trying to be very smart about. Don't put myself in a position where I'm too close to an edge that's easy to be pushed off. And AAA giving me a bit of a scare there with some of that movement, walking in between the two platforms and just kind of circling, but it worked out for them.
Oh! Essence falling in there. Maybe they were grabbed. I'm not sure what happened. It looks like Professor X did get the grab on them at the last second as that platform was rotating over. We're now in a 2v1 situation.
Yeah, now we're going to see. So now is Trippin X going to try and pinpoint Berritory? And I think they will. I think that's the move. I think you have to try to target them and try and get in that position where it's like, all right, they're going down.
Oh,
but instead, the tables have turned and Berritory is the one who gets them. So now we have Professor X versus Berritory in a 1v1 situation. Some NPCs still alive in the mix as well.
That's right, 1v1, and they're kind of staying on the opposite edges of the platform from each other. They're kind of looking at each other, giving each other a little bit of a showdown right now. Who's it going to be, though? The NPCs are still kind of getting in the way. One NPC goes down, the black bean here. And it's getting to...
When is there going to be the opportunity? That's
getting
what
to
we're
the
waiting
point,
for.
right? Getting to the point where it's getting a little too fast to really make that grab play. We're in a 1v1 situation, a true 1v1 now. Who's going to survive? Who has the endurance?
Oh my gosh. This is incredibly close right now. And as you can see, the slime rising. We are almost at the peak of it. And it is Professor X taking home that crown and the dub. Like,
what an incredible grab.
The entire time.
He's so stoic. He's so focused. He's so collected. This guy knows what to do to bring home the crowns, and he does it here again. A nice cheeky little grab on his way by, trips up Bear and puts him on flat on the like right into the slime. You can't even come back from that.
Look, and as you said, like, it resonated with me too. I hear that. I heard it right from the beginning. You know, Two Peas in a Pod. We'll take home the races. We're gonna get those medals. Well, now you better, because you have a deficit that you have to start chipping away at. So if you have to start winning those races, and you wonder, I mean, I doubt that there was any delivery of that word to them. But you know, as a competitor myself, if I heard that my opponent was saying that, I'd be like, all right, you want to say that? Get ready for this, because I'm stepping it up even more now.
Oh, baby, exactly. If they're saying all we need is those crowns, make it easy, like, you know, even if they didn't hear that, they're bringing the heat and they're saying it's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be as simple as that.
No way. Both teams did not get here because it was easy street. Both teams dominated their way to get to this position. And that's what they're seeing right now. And you know, Two Peas in a Pod is looking over it. They're like, all right, we see you. And now they're going to have to pull in that confidence. As I said, if you're going to win the races, take home the golds now, chip away at it. You've got a deficit of just about 900 to work with.
And yeah, think about that for a second. Two peas in a pod saying gold medals are our friend, that we're going to have the advantage if we have those gold medals, but they actually had the lowest scores in this matchup right now. You're looking at 475, 405. The only matchup that maybe they got ahead in was that early Tundra run. AAA coming home with some gold medals, 510. Professor X coming home with the crown. So the deficit here, almost 900 kudos. That's more than a crown's worth. Like, they have to put their money where their mouth is right now.
Oh, 100%. And that's why I'm interested to see, because now we're in a situation, two peas in a pod is, as we already saw some aggression in round 1. So there's no way that there's not going to be those opportunities in round 2 and 3. If they are there, I expect these players to go for it and try and make their comeback that way. Try and get the other opponent eliminated in a non-team game, in a survival game. Maybe a slime climb opportunity, maybe a rollout opportunity, some opportunity where they can be like, all right, now we're getting a medal advantage each round we keep going on.
Exactly. Yeah. But the crown is going to be the deciding factor. If we want to see a really close round 3, two peas in a pod need to get that crown in the second round to make it happen.
And two peas in a pod did say 2 crowns and we'll move on. You still got 2 rounds. So if you can get those 2 crowns, it could possibly easily be in your favor if that was the case.
Let's look at the opponents right now. Trip and X coming away with that first crown. Professor X and AAA. These guys have really, proven to be a force to be reckoned with. I think I'm going to take a quick little peek back here just so that I'm not, spouting nonsense. But pretty sure that these guys have come away, I guess 10 for 10 now when it comes to crowns.
That is incredible.
They missed one. The only crown that got stolen from them was in the round 2 match against Moose and Goose, I think. But that's, a dominating performance.
That is unheard of. And to put it in perspective, you are constantly going against people of high caliber gameplay
I trapped him.
and skill,
your goal,
and you're just pulling away crowns like it's candy. It's crazy. That's absolutely insane in a tournament setting to be able to rattle off that many crowns. And will they be able to continue doing it as the competition only gets harder and harder as you move on in this tournament?
We can sure hope so. We want to see that clutch gameplay. And yeah, here we go again. Just like we're seeing before. Trip and X coming in with those gold medals on the right side. Two peas in a pod.
I'm telling you.
Not feeling quite as confident in their gameplay right now, maybe.
Yeah, and Berritory was struggling on that slime ramp for quite a while. I think they may have hit the donut stack just a little wrong. And once you lose momentum on that ramp, it is very tough to get that back. And you kind of maneuver your way, hope to either hit one of the donuts or bounce yourself off one of the other beans to get your speed back. Because otherwise you feel like you are in no man's land.
Yeah, you're right about that. Bear talking very confident again about those gold medals. He's got to show it now. Bear and Essence both. They got to bring it right now.
Absolutely.
Essence showing a little bit something else on the screen there. I think a little screenshot of what the grab situation was looking like in that last rollout, maybe.
And here is that situation that we were talking about. Slime climb. Are they gonna take that opportunity?
Oh, I hope so. Imagine, you get the edge on your opponents. If they think they can get the gold medals, use that right now. Get to the top of the mountain first and start the griefing before they have a chance to react.
Yeah, I'm looking at Berritory and I'm looking at Essence right now. And I'm just, eyes are glued to their screen to see what they try and do to take these opportunities.
And yeah, you can see Bear is already kind of trying to go for those. AAA is able to dodge out of his grab, and it actually sends Bear down the mountain a little bit. And who's up at the front of the pack? Professons is just running along the Twinkies way ahead. And who's behind him? His teammate, AAA.
Yeah, this is not what you want to see if you're two peas in a pod. You're just watching right now as the two people you need to slow down are completely out of your range. I'm sorry, but no desync grab could pull them back right now.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. First place going to Professor X. Again, another crown, or another gold medal, rather, going in their direction. Two Peas in a Pod gonna have to deal with the silvers. It's looking like the crown is not gonna be enough to pull them back in.
Yeah, and they might need to rally off 2 crowns in a row if they want to put themselves in a position. Right now, they have to just focus on one thing, and that's, even though they're not getting the golds right now, every race or every opportunity that's not a team game, we need to get these golds. We need to get our differences, and then just bring home the crown. The last thing that they can accept right now is a crown by X.
Yeah, that would definitely put a real big nail in the coffin. Even a double crown would be kind of hard to come back from, So the crown puts them in it. The crown, we always talk about how the kudos are everything, but the crown puts them at least in a position, even if they're down in round 2, that they can win the crown again in round 3 to make, it gives them more opportunities, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we're just watching as this bullet is doing the good old, look at me, I made it to the top of the mountain.
As we watch this bullet, the time, nice little addition for season 3, by the way. This timer that ticks down as the end of the game is coming to a close, so that we don't have to guess anymore.
It should be.
Absolutely. And now with 14 people left, are we going to be getting a fall ball? You heard one of our competitors just say it right there, but I'm curious if we are going to see a round 3 fall ball. I feel like if you're 2 Peas in a Pod, you kind of want like a fruit shoot or something that you can bring home a gold in.
How about a Freezy Peak?
Well, that's one of them. You can certainly bring home a gold here, and we'll see what spawn they get and if they can redeem themselves after Professor X and AAA took home the gold medal last time in Freezy Peak.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, they have a little bit of a redemption to make here. Have to prove themselves as competitors. Let's see the spawns. Looks like they both on 2 Peas in a Pod spawn right next to each other. Bear opting to go through the punching fists. A little bit of a slower method. Essence is going to take that jump across the snow, but actually getting blown back by the fan a little bit. And who's up at front? It's AAA. Their opponents, exactly who you don't want to see up at the front right now if you're 2 Peas in a Pod.
Absolutely not. And this is going to be a lower qualifying Freezy Peak as well because of the current round. So we're going to see a stressful situation, but it looks like I feel that personally, once you get past the fans, if you're not too far behind, you're going to play this punch section a little as much as you normally would. It's when you fall behind after the fan section because you had a ragdoll off, you start stressing, you start getting a little out of your comfort zone.
That's all right.
Absolutely. Yep, you're right about that.
Getting the silver.
But it looks like AAA taking home that gold. So X just they keep doing their thing. They're just sitting there playing, and they're like, you know what? Maybe we're the ones. It's just races are our thing. We'll just keep taking the medals and just get 2 crowns, and we're in.
Let's just do that then.
Yep, super, super interesting to see that X just crushing the gold medals right now. Just crushing it. It's getting to a point where 2 Peas in a Pod kind of has to just say, you know what? Maybe the crowns is what we do have to rely on.
Yeah, and 2 Peas in a Pod, both of them got bronze. And that's something to note, that both X got gold and silver, and then 2 Peas in a Pod got 2 bronze. That won't cut it out. If you're trying to make up the ground here from a 900-point deficit.
Good on this one.
Going into a thin ice final too. How many players do we have left? We have 8 players on the field. 4 of them are our competitors right now. Anything can happen in a thin ice. We've seen some clutch plays happen on the thin ice already. How is it going to boil down here? Let's see.
All they do is cheese.
I'm interested to see the gameplay strats that we see here. Will we see early griefing? I'd imagine probably not too early, but that's that get under their skin mentality that I speak of, because I feel that there are some competitors that are like, I'm going to grab you right away. It won't do anything. I know this won't kill you, but now you'll always constantly look for me. And maybe you'll turn the camera a little wrong on one of your jumps because you're like, oh, where are they? They already grabbed me once.
This first minute and a half, we always kind of view as the setup phase, Do these players have a strategy going out, or are they just kind of scoping? Both are kind of viable options. You want to be aware of your surroundings as the shapes begin to form, as it's, you go from one platform to several. You want to be aware of your bearings, aware of your surroundings. Looks like Essence's plan is just to kind of run in big circles around the stage and just eliminate as much of it as he can in a timely manner. Bear's strategy, though, is more to stick in the middle and kind of just be scoping and seeing what is the best path. Where is everybody else? And maybe when things start to thin out a little bit, where is the space that's going to give me the most room? So I'm going to stay in the middle and kind of be able to scope that out a little bit.
Yeah, I've been watching Bear this whole time, and I just keep seeing that, I'm even seeing the hexagon dive strat to stall out a little more. It's very, very slow paced. Something that I feel like is less commonly seen on thin ice, especially in the beginning. I'm used to seeing everyone run around, just be like, all right, let's get the show on the road. Let's create as many exits for these NPCs and the opponents as soon as possible. But Bear's just like, nah, I just take my own time. Play at my own pace.
You can see how quickly the middle just diminished in this map, though, because it was all just demolishing so quickly and evenly through the middle. Now there's barely anything left to survive. Essence takes a dip in the slime. Bear is right up next to AAA. AAA makes a dive away, but now he's with an NPC here, and he's going to have to make a pretty clutch play to survive. Bear's in the slime. AAA's in the slime. Who's going to survive? It's actually going to be an NPC by the looks of it. Wow. None of our competitors running away with the crown here. That puts Two Peas in a Pod in a very tight situation.
It's a very tight situation, and they're probably, I think right now, they're breathing a sigh of relief because they're like, oh, thank God X did not take home that crown. But I don't think that they realized all the medal differential that they had. As I said, even on that Freezy peak, they got 2 bronzes while X got a gold and silver. That's all going to add up over time. And they were already facing a rather large deficit. They're going to have to bring home like every gold, get the crown, maybe potentially need that double crown. I'm not sure. It depends how the next round goes.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's really, really tough to see. Like, we're going to see the scores come in really soon here. And as soon as we do, we're going to see that gap is probably going to widen a little bit. They already have the crown in their pocket, and there was already a 900-point deficit. I would be pretty surprised if it doesn't extend to over 1,000 with the medals that X was bringing in. Like, they were just crushing those gold medals. And Two Peas in a Pod is, they got to hit the ground running in this last episode if they want to catch up.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see the score difference here because Two Peas in a Pod has to be doing they're going to be doing everything they can to try and eliminate them. We might even see it on even round 1 races. Maybe they're going to just try and grab them and be like, hey, look, we're here. We're just going to mess with you as much as we can. Even if this doesn't eliminate you, you're going to be thinking about us. We need to get you off your game. Right now, X is on autopilot.
Yep, they're just going to play their game, and look at that. Just like we said, the lead has extended from about 900 kudos to somewhere closer to 1,100 kudos. Just bumping up the lead a little bit. 300 kudos from Two Peas in a Pod. Not going to cut it if X is pulling 100 kudos more than you right now.
Yeah, no, this is not what you want to see if you're Two Peas in a Pod and you're pulling for them. 1,100. It just depends. If you can't get them out, then you're going to have to rely on a double crown at the end there. And that's... you never want to be in a position where you're relying on that. Because first you have to rely on RNG. Then you have to rely on actually executing it. So this is a very tough situation.
It's tough stuff. That's for sure. That is for sure. But, we've seen it in the other episodes too. It's come down to this a couple of times now where teams are talking about the double crown potential. I think that the margin here is still close enough that if they get the crown and also maybe eliminate one of the players in X, they might be able to walk away with a win here. You can get about 400 kudos in an episode without the crown. So, they're going to be looking at X, and they're going to be looking to eliminate them early if they possibly can. It has to be done that way.
That has to. Yeah, exactly. It has to. And I guess if you're just rooting for a round 2 rollout, you're maybe no, because I don't even think that'd be enough. I was trying to think maybe if you got the vertical seesaws, but with how many kudos you're behind, you can't afford to just have a 2-round game unless it went to a jump showdown. You just can't afford that.
You can't get
cheeky.
Yep. It's really, really tough. Yeah, maybe in a situation like the seesaw that you were talking about, the plan could be to throw the game and have just your one teammate. Maybe Bear moves on and Essence eliminates the other 2 competitors so that, there's only one person scoring points for the team, and maybe that's enough to do it. Who knows what the strategy is going to be here.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see this. I want to see how Two Peas in a Pod plays the situation. If they can, they haven't really, ever since we heard we're going to get the medals, I feel like they haven't gotten the medal since. So I'm intrigued to see it for round 3.
a lot of confidence coming from that side, but it's Trip and X who is kind of steamrolling those gold medals all the way through this matchup right now.
Yeah, very small sample size, but still.
We're going to be starting off with Tundra Run, and we're going to see what spawns our competitors are going to get. If they get a beneficial spawn, this is the one where they took home the gold and silver, and this is the map where it all started, where they made their remark. So will they at least get the gold and silver here as well?
We can sure hope so. Depends on the spawns, though. We'll have to take a peek and see. Spawns really matter in this one. So you're seeing AAA and Essence both like right in the middle of the pack. Bear as well. Actually, all 4 of our players are kind of just buried right in the middle of the pack. So nobody really getting the advantage here. But Bear in the top left corner, you're kind of seeing him take a little bit of a charge here.
Yeah, and this is a situation where you're gonna, you just want to make sure that you're gonna be getting the golds and silvers, and that's all you're thinking about. And that you see Bear there getting a little off their momentum and their normal routing because of the NPCs and bumping into them, but getting the Superman dive.
Very good, but guess who gets it first? It's Professor X on the right side there, and Professor X going to be claiming that gold medal first.
Yeah.
Bear right behind, getting the silver. Essence securing a silver. Now it comes down to AAA, where all eyes are on AAA. If AAA gets a bronze, then that gold medal that his teammate got is essentially nullified. So what is his placement here? Oh, you can see missing the flip. So yeah, he's going to have to settle for a bronze here.
And there it is. Bronze indeed.
What'd you get?
Gold.
Okay, so it's equal. It's equal.
It's equal, yeah. You can hear the tabulating the points in their heads a little bit, yeah. For anybody at home who's kind of curious how the kudos work, every game has a set base amount of kudos, and then the medals that you get above that add 35 more kudos to that total. So the pink medal is worth a certain amount. Bronze is worth 35 more kudos than that. Silver is worth 35 more than bronze. And gold is worth 35 more than silver. So yeah, if you see 2 silvers on one side, a gold and bronze on the other, you're essentially canceling out that match and moving on to the next game, hoping that you can get an edge.
Yeah, and so now 2 peas in a pod. This is what I'm saying. You want your room for a rollout. You want to see a game where you can eliminate them. Some survival game, some sort of slot. You want to just see something where they can get out. You don't want to see a big team game. You don't want to see any of that. And here's the seesaw.
Here's the seesaw. I'm actually really interested to see what kind of strategies are going to be played here.
Damn it. That's where I would have been like, I would have double clicked my stat tracker real quick.
Yeah, imagine if we could get up ahead and get them both killed.
You hear it. You hear them talking about it right now. The strategies are already kind of mixing in their heads. They're thinking about what they can do here. Who's up at the front of the pack? Let's see. AAA is going for the strat, but I think he missed the checkpoint because another bean got in his way. That sends him back, but also happened to Bear. Bear is stuck near the beginning of the seesaws as well. And
and you could hear disgruntle when they saw the end of the seesaw pattern. And I think that part of them was rooting for the vertical situation. I think they wanted to see the vertical seesaws. Now, if that would have actually mattered at this point, I feel like you still would have needed a jump showdown or some sort of double crown. But it's interesting that that's where their mind is going to. They're like, yeah, we need to figure out some way to eliminate them.
You're right. And the gears were turning there. Nobody really has a clear kind of outset here. The top spot being fought between Essence and Professor X. Professor X tried to turn around and give Essence a grab, but Essence was able to jump out of it. And nobody's getting the gold medal here. But Essence is at least securing a silver for his team.
And now we're just waiting on Bear at the end. Final seesaw. And then also... that's for 2 peas in a pod. And then we look over at the left, where they're actually harassing right now.
They are harassing Bear, trying to make sure he doesn't get over the line. But it put him in a bit of a weird situation, I think. All these people started qualifying all at once. So silver medal might only go to Essence. Everybody else might get bronze as a result of that kind of harassment that they were trying to do. Which, you know, if you're 2 peas in a pod, that is a medal in your favor. Let's see.
Yeah, that very interesting strat right there.
Understandable though, right? Because maybe if Essence or if Bear misses a jump, then suddenly he's out of the contention to get in through the episode, and it's easy quals all day long for Trip and X. But
yeah, for sure. So we saw 3 bronze there, and the only silver, as you mentioned, did go to Essence. So that is a kudos advantage right there for 2 peas in a pod, but they're going to need to make up even more than that for sure.
All depends on the next game. What are we going to see next? These long loading screens typically mean that somebody dropped out of the episode, meaning that the game they get might change along with it.
Yeah, that's always something, because whenever you play Fall Guys, you're always thinking. Your head's just like, all right, it could be this, it could be this. Is it divisible by 3? Could we get a 3-team game? And your mind's just going, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we got something I didn't even think we could.
Yeah.
But now we get Hoopsy Heroes.
Hoopsy Heroes. And it's a pretty high qual Hoopsy Heroes. 17 can pass. Usually, if you're a competitor in this situation, you're breathing pretty easy. The only problem is that with more competitors means more people gunning for these gold rings. Makes the medals hard to get. Makes the gold medals hard to secure. You can see Essence jumping through that gold ring at the same time as an NPC. Nobody able to secure it there.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, with the gold rings and everyone going for it, it almost makes you think, because if you were playing this casually, most likely you just be like, all right, this many people, I'm just gonna go for the white rings the entire time. And then if the gold's in my way or it's within striking distance, maybe then I'll grab it. But in a tournament and needing to worry about your medals, you kind of got to scope out the gold and make sure. It's a risk. Like, next thing you know, you could be going for gold. And then next thing, it goes from 4 people qualified. And then it's 9 just out of nowhere. All of a sudden, everyone starts flooding the rings, getting the golds as they're just dropping in convenient places.
You're right. Just AAA remaining, I believe, to qualify here.
There's also
still only 5 people in, so still got plenty of time. But you're right about that, especially if the gold medals are accessible, right? The gold medals being accessible and being acquired by a bunch of players all at once is kind of what sets the precedent. It can kind of be a strategy sometimes. You know, if you see the gold medal off to the side like that, pull the platforms away from it that make it accessible, so that you are kind of forcing the entire lobby to go for the white rings, not leaving that gold medal a chance to be, first of all, obtained in the first place, but also secondly, it doesn't spawn any more gold medals in more opportune places. It kind of shifts the passage. It shifts the way that the game kind of structures itself that way.
Exactly. When I was in tournaments in the past, I always loved seeing NPCs bunched up and struggling to get a gold ring, because I knew, I was like, all right, if I'm behind right now, this will give me all the time I need to just get back into position, because by the time they actually cooperate to get that gold, it's like a seesaw. It's just waiting on them to figure out the seesaw. It's like it'll take a bit. It's just what happens when you have all these people that can't communicate with each other. They all want one thing, and there's like 8 people going after one target. You're all going to keep interfering with each other. So it bought enough time. But then once that gold ring's gotten, you can see some floodgates open up. So
the good players recognize that too, you know. The good players will recognize and always have their eye on the gold medal, where it is and what's going on with it, because it changes your game strategy. If you're a smart player, it changes your game strategy, because you start going for the white rings, you start thinking about them, and you start realizing that the faster you can get white rings, the faster you'll qualify over everybody else who's struggling to get this one gold.
There's your chance.
Absolutely. And sometimes I've gotten a gold medal before by just only getting the white rings, because the first gold spawn was in a spot that everyone struggled, and so many people were going for it, and I'm just like minding my own business. I'm like, I'll just take this path, and it's just followed in the right way. All these white rings are just in the perfect place. I got 6 and I got gold with it. It's like, you know, that can just happen. It can just happen.
Fall ball.
Moving into a fall ball, the players called it. They saw the number of players left. They know they've only played 3 episodes, and now we're going to be seeing a little fall ball here, the hammers. Now, of course, if you're Trippin' X, you see this, and you think, okay, well, if our team loses, it's not a big deal. We're moving on to the next round.
Yep.
If you're 2 peas in a pod, you obviously want to prolong this episode from happening, but it doesn't matter what the players think. Our rules in FallapaTWOza state no throwing the team games. They have to be played in good faith. We know that these players are good enough to win these team game situations, so we'll be able to tell pretty easy if they're not giving their best.
I could rocket that.
Yeah, for sure. The hammers can definitely throw a bit of a loop into it. And with these larger fall balls, it can get a little hectic. Even when you have 4 elite players and like high level players, a lot of members on a certain team, you can have enough bad ones on the other half of your team, and then you're going up against 8 competent enough NPCs.
Where did that ball
and
go?
it can be tough.
The ball went out the map. We only have one ball now.
Way.
Oh wait, it respawned.
Did that actually happen? That ball got hit up so high into the corner that only one ball remains in this fall ball. It actually got popped out of the left side there. Okay, it did come respawning back in. That's so funny, though. It actually took a while for the ball to kind of register. Hey, wait, I'm supposed to be over here.
Excuse me. Yeah, do you know how to get back to the field from here? I don't know where I am.
Yeah, I took a wrong turn and I kind of got lost. Don't really understand where I'm supposed to be, but here it is. It's back. Never seen that happen before, actually. FallapaTWOza first.
That's actually insane. And now we're gonna see the football drop down, the American football drop down, or hand egg.
Little hand egg action, yeah.
Oh, fucker.
20 seconds left. I think these guys are sitting pretty. 2-0. Pretty large fall ball. I think it's like an 8v8 or something like that. So it's hard to score goals when there's all these beans in the way. So maybe a little time for a rare char in the middle of the field while they're waiting for these balls to spawn in.
And the unfortunate part for 2 peas in a pod is getting this team game and knowing no matter what happens, we can't gain any kudos differential. We're all getting the same amount.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
This double crown needs to happen. They need to hope that first off they get a jump showdown because it gives them any sort of chance. Because I think if they get any other final, that might just be enough for Trippin X to punch their ticket to the finals.
Yeah, the kudos difference is just too great, 2 peas in a pod would have loved to eliminate a member of the Trippin X team, but they're kind of having to cross their fingers here and hope for a jump showdown or some game that a double crown might be possible. And a thin ice. So this is a tricky one, right? The number is pretty low. There's 8 players on this thin ice. There is a situation here. Maybe they can eliminate both members of Trippin X early and then force all of the players remaining to play really slow. Maybe get a timeout somehow.
If you're Trippin X though, you're just running the whole time, right? You're just running. Yeah. You just want to break this up as fast as possible.
You know it, baby. You know it. You know that if I can eliminate any opportunity for a double crown situation, I'm going to do it, and that is going to require me to just eat up all of this ice as fast as possible.
Y'all really doing that? I thought it was the last layer already.
Yeah, this is certainly. I mean, I haven't seen AAA stop moving since the match started at all. It has been absolutely just zooming around.
Yep, and he's got a big smile on his face too. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly why he's doing it too. And yeah, really not leaving any ice for this potential timeout to happen. Kind of, sealing the deal there. I don't want to say they're celebrating early because there's only so much that you can do right now. Everybody's still in this thin ice, but
there's a close call right there for AAA, having to make the dive to avoid the slime. That could have possibly been 2 peas in a pod's break.
Oh, what an incredible grab by Bear there, getting AAA out, catching him kind of off his footing, and now look at this. Bear is just chasing down Professor X. He's saying, I am doing everything that I can to try and make this timeout happen. Using the desync to his advantage, you can see. I love that.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting chase down. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen these chase downs before on thin ice. And I'm excited to see. Part of me wants to see this happen. I want to see the chase down work. I want to see if the double crown is possible.
No eliminations there. Wasn't able to grab Professor X and get him out of the map. But still, Bear is just giving him the rundown, not allowing him any space. Essence joins the fray a little bit, just dives right at his ankles. But still surviving. Professor X is still just surviving. There's 5 people left on this thin ice. A bunch of NPCs still causing problems too.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. How fast are these NPCs actually moving too? You're so focused on your opponent, but
Bear with the grab again. This guy is insane. How does he do it with the drive-by grab on Professor X, pulling him into the ice?
Away.
Now it's just a matter of do they have enough time to get rid of the NPCs and force a timeout here? It's going to be hard to tell.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is the situation, right? If they force a timeout and a double crown on thin ice, you can never say that they didn't earn moving on if that was enough. because all it would have taken to do this and to get into this situation. And that's going to be some costly missed ice over there, unfortunately, for Bear.
Yeah, those spaces are going to get eaten up by that tomato, but at least the tomato is kind of isolated in their own zone. Essence is doing what he can to cut off the tomato from making it to the mainland, but now it is basically just a race against the clock. Do they have enough time left in order to secure a double crown, or is there just going to be not enough ice panels here? It's going to be a close call.
Oh my gosh, this is... I wish I started a timer at the beginning of this. I wish I could tell you.
It's so unfortunate they got so
This is gonna be
games, man.
just as close as you can get on a thin ice to a timeout.
You can see both of these players trying to maximize their tiles. Bear is going over to this patch over here to try and kind of leave the rest for his buddy Essence. And like, this is going to be a thin ice where every single tile gets eaten up basically, but it's going to be a little too late, unfortunately. Doing everything in their power to try and force that double crown, but just not enough time. Honestly, a brilliant display of skill from Two Peas in a Pod. It just isn't enough when they needed it most.
I want a timer on that. I want to see how close that was. And we can't go without saying that they potentially could have had it if Professor X did not manage all the maneuvering for as long as he did to avoid them. There was so much dodging there in so many situations that were this close to going down early, which would have provided enough time to potentially stall that out. But Professor made it just enough. And then the NPC made it just enough. That whole platform over there that they left the tomato, that could have been enough potentially as well. So we just don't know. There were so many close calls there.
Yeah, there really was. Just a little too late, you know? And AAA and Professor, they knew right away that just clear out all the ice. Clear out as much ice as they possibly can, and it worked out. Even though they both got eliminated early in this match, it was enough of the ice to secure the victory into the finals. That's what you love to see.
And that's gonna be very exciting. So we're already gonna have one of our teams now locked into the finals after going through a tough day one and then a tough day two with their matchups. You know, as I said, you can put up all these high scores all you want and have these very impressive scores. Either way, it's still not easy. They make it look easy because they're professionals, but it's not easy.
It really isn't. And you have to remember there were no crowns in that second episode, so these scores are actually going to be extremely close, but we do talk about this all the time. It's a game of kudos. The kudos matter, the medals matter, and who was bringing home the gold medals all day long? Trippin' X was bringing home the gold medals all day long.
And you see the score difference there, just a mere 350 kudos. And you just look at round two. You look at round three, they brought home the crown, but you look at that round two. And the round two where they weren't bringing home those gold medals and those silver medals and some of the bronze that they got, and they got outscored at the end. No team brought home a crown there, but the score difference in that round alone, that was pretty devastating for Two Peas in a Pod, who claimed to just, get the race medals and get the golds there.
That round two, yeah, you look at the round two and you look at the round two as the defining moment. And I guess in the round one too as well, Two Peas in a Pod, they just were coming up short by almost 100 kudos in both situations there. Yep. And that's the difference. Looking at a differential of 350 kudos between the two teams. And that's going to be the story here. That's going to be Trippin' X punching their ticket to the finals. But something that you guys need to remember, something that you need to keep in your mind, is that all four of these remaining teams are going to be playing another matchup here. Two Peas in a Pod is not out of this tournament. They got to win. They got to try and win third place now, as you can see here.
Yeah, there's still something to play for, and that's what we love about FallapaTWOza and FallapaTWOza with this situation. Two Peas in a Pod. As much as it's unfortunate that they don't get to carry on into the finals, they still have something to play for, and they still have something to look forward to in what I'm sure will be a great third place match as well.
Yeah,
and Trippin' X is just going to be sitting there probably just watching, waiting for their opponents. And this is the interesting situation too. And I'm not sure if you've had this situation when you've been the first team to lock into a finals. You look over and you just watch and you start analyzing. And right now, if you're Trippin' X, you're watching Gas and you're watching the Young Beans. Both great teams, both are going to put up. But you're going to watch specifically which player do they coordinate as their leader? Which player do they coordinate as their support role? Who does what? You want to look for tendencies in all these players and take advantage of that, because Gas and Young Beans, they were probably prepping and, just sitting here preparing for their match. You have the advantage of waiting here and watching and analyzing, so that when you face whoever the winner is of that, you know what to look out for.
That's right. And it'll be interesting to see what these players choose to use that time with. Maybe they practice, so they've got their streams going on the side just to get a little bit of intel. But yeah, I do like the position that Trippin X is in right now. They get to watch and see who they face up against. It's gonna be a hell of a matchup between Gas and the Young Beans, because both of those teams, I think, are in situations where they had to fight real hard to be in the position. Yeah. Those two top teams that we saw just now, they kind of cruised their way into the semifinals pretty dang well against their matchups. They were the dominating forces kind of colliding in the semifinals. Only one team can move on. But on the other side of the bracket, it was a much more interesting story. A lot of upsets, a lot of heartbreaks, and they really had to work to be where they are.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's what we're going to be looking out for. As I said, going into the day, my eyes were on Young Beans. You took out Delete Fall Mountain. You took out the reigning champs. And then you came in, and I think on their first game, I think they did not bring home the crown. And I was like, okay, what are they going to do now? Are they going to flip the switch and just start dominating and being like, you know what? We had this. We can do it again today. And they did. And that's what brought them here to the semifinals.
That's right. That's right. And look at these teams. They're raring to go. They're matching up. They got their game faces on up in the top displays here. I am very excited for this matchup. Gas has been just a very concrete force. They've been powering through against some of the clutchest teams in this tournament. Young Beans, again, can't be understated. These guys took out the defending champions of this tournament right now, and now they're coming in and they're looking for more.
And that's what you gotta do. You can never be content until you are crowned the champion. You can't get content and sit there. Like, you gotta always be hungry for more. And that's what Young Beans are doing good with. I think that they've impressed me with that, because in a situation, it's just tough. It's hard not to get caught in the moment and be like, wow, we made it this far. But no, you gotta always be hungry, because otherwise someone's gonna find that one opportunity to stop you.
Very close race there between Puffly Jig and Crazy Train up at the front of the pack here. Gold medal's going to go to Puffly Jig, though. Wraith right behind. Crazy Train kind of got caught at the front of the level, the very start with the wheels, but he's going to secure himself a silver medal as well. I want to bring attention to something right now. We have a very rare opportunity in the chat right now to boost the stream. This is a community challenge that Twitch kind of randomly brings upon streamers sometime. If you got some channel points lying around under the couch cushions, why don't you throw them towards the stream? Let's get this FallapaTWOza action on the front page of Twitch as a sponsored stream. Show your support, show your love. Thank you very much for all the support that we've already seen here.
Boost it, or else.
All right, bro, we got this.
Or else Philly will find you.
I will, and I will look at you.
Easy
funny.
easy.
There you go.
Yeah, you don't want that. Trust me.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm actually feeling. I'm not lying. I feel confident. I've locked in my $80.
If I can contribute while we're doing this, you can contribute. I believe in you, chat. Whatever channel points you've got, just throw them it.
Throw them right in there. Only 24% more to go, says Jer Bear. Thank you for your contributions, chat. Yeah, let's get FallapaTWOza on the front page of Twitch for some folks.
Easy dub.
Back to the action. Gas and the Young Beans in a Hoarders in the first episode. We're seeing a pattern here.
Yeah, Hoarders, not the game I'd want to see, but if anything, at least it's round one. that's what I'd keep telling myself right now. If we lose, at least it is round one. It's basically, as you mentioned earlier, the bracket reset.
For sure, yeah, for sure. You like to see it in round one more than you like to see it in round three, because no matter what situation you're sitting in, right? This one, if the Hoarders doesn't go their way for some reason, at least they can kind of just, brush it off. Nobody really takes a hit here. The Young Beans have like a 35 kudos lead or something like that, but it's nothing that they can't recover from, so.
Oh, absolutely. This is just going to be a situation right now. Yellow is the team that is trailing, so you're probably going to see our teams here trying to guard off the yellow side and just watch the border from blue to yellow and red to yellow. But it's actually, at the moment, I'm actually not seeing that. That's typically what I would do in this situation. Once I know that we're just not in last, I just guard off the team that is in last and try and stop anything from going their way, whether I'm hitting it to the second place team or the other team. I just don't want it to go to the team that's in last.
Absolutely, yeah. This is not necessarily a game about winning. This is a game about not losing. You know.
Yeah, because you're gonna go home with the same kudos. Like, there's gonna be no difference if you all get gold or you all get silver. That makes no difference in a tournament unless you're trying to set a high score.
Exactly. Oh, look at this situation we're in right now. Blue and red were they were tied, and then yellow and red were tied. So we're in an overtime situation. Again, in Hoarders, you have to make sure that you have 2 balls on your side. As long as you have 2, you're going to be okay and you're going to survive. But that doesn't mean that the other teams aren't going to time it out.
Wow. That was very scary. Blue was tied with a lot of they're tied with yellow, then tied with the red, then tied with yellow, and then they managed to bring it back. That I was worried for them. I thought that was gonna be that. Oh, we've been in this comfortable position this whole time, and then at the very end, it's just nope, not anymore.
Not anymore. Thank goodness that everybody is safe and moving on. And, you know, even if it isn't the biggest deal, you know, even if they're in a situation where, you know, they just have to reset and start again in round 2, you don't really want to see it. You know, you want the opportunity to get those extra kudos. You want the opportunity to get that crown and put your team in the driver's seat.
Absolutely. And now we're going to be seeing a fruit shoot here. And we see the Yeats, as we mentioned. Eyes always locked there.
Yeah. I'm gonna wait though.
Yep. They see it right away, and depending on your spawn, it depends on like if you want to jump off the platform right away, you know. And you can see Puffly Jig kind of got caught in the crowd there, took a ragdoll off of one of his competitors, and that's the reason that he fell. But that's why the Yeats are so valuable, you know. A lot of NPCs won't really try and go for the Yeats ever. They kind of view it as a crutch. They view it as a last resort. So they just jump on the treadmill and they start running forwards. Our competitors use them to their advantage all the time. It boosts you halfway up the stage and then into the finish line, just like this.
Absolutely. And a good rebound there, because whenever you fall off and early in a fruit shoot, with Yeats or without, you always get a little more nervous and you start overthinking the Yeet just a little more, because you're like, oh man, if this is a bad Yeet, that could be my sentence to be eliminated right now. Exactly. So it was a really good bounce back there by Puffly Jig.
Coming in with the rest of the pack. I think Crazy Train was able to walk away with the gold medal there, so you know, a little bit bouncing back, right? The first race, Puffly Jig got that gold medal. Crazy Train answers right here, and now it's basically back to even going into a late game in this episode.
As we wait on Wall Guys now. So this should I feel like this one should be a fairly simple one for our competitors. Let's take a look at the pattern. It looks like middle on the second to last, and it looks like you have a path at the end to just go straight to the end and be
Speedrunner's Paradise. You know, whenever speedrunners look at this level, they're always examining that little preview at the beginning, and they're seeing, what's the path we can take here? Can we just jump over the entire level? Are we going to have to push anything?
And then ideally, if you do have to push anything, your goal is to, I'm going to stand on this block, and someone else will do the work for me.
Yeah, allow the physical labor to somebody else. I want the advantage here, so I'm not going to try and push any of these platforms.
Holy crap, I'm struggling, bro.
Yeah, Wraith is a little bit behind the pack. He's still in the yellow zone. Everybody else is charging through the red zone. This is actually going to be a very fast Wall Guys by the looks of it. Lots of pathways towards the finish.
Yeah, a couple missed jumps there by the NPCs right in front of Wraith, which definitely helped secure Wraith's position for potentially a silver.
Yes, sir.
All of our players coming in top 6. Why don't we, for a moment, take a little peek at the player cards here so we get used to who these guys are, where they're coming from. You know, our top 4 teams, they deserve a little bit of recognition in the spotlight here. Let's have a look.
For sure. We're going to first take a look at the young beans here, and we look at Puffly Jig, and we look at Wraith. Wraith, who made it to the finals in UMG tournament. Once again, all these different backgrounds that we talked about with these Fall Guys players.
That's right. That's right. And Puffly Jig, so confident in their Fall Guys prowess that their gaming accomplishment is just Fall Guys win rate. We don't actually know what that percentage is, but we can imagine it's pretty beefy if that's what their main gaming accomplishment is here. Obviously, repping the candle in the background of that image. This guy came to play Fall Guys. He's in it for the Fall Guys competition and making it really far, making a name for himself for sure.
Absolutely. And this is what you love to see. And this is what I love about this tournament. As we mentioned before, all these newcomer teams that haven't made it this far before, you just love seeing the new names that get out there with every tournament, and all these people are just have the opportunity. They find a tournament and they're like, this could be the one that people start to learn who I am and know that, oh, this person's a gamer. I should check him out. I should be like, well, man, it's really cool. That's what I love about this tournament, these situations, and seeing newcomers rise.
That's right. We're already in a final right now. 10 contestants remaining in this thin ice. And, the first part, it's always interesting to watch what everybody's habits are, because, these guys have played hundreds of thin ices at this point, and you got to kind of bide your time for that initial part of the thin ice. Nobody's ahead in kudos right now. So what is the plan at the start? You kind of just stick with what you know. And a lot of players like to run around. Sometimes they dig little holes. I know that there's a strategy in a lot of the Fall Guys community to isolate the pillar. The pillar just being like a stack of 3 ice that you try and preserve right up until the end of the match. That's kind of a long-standing tradition in some of the Fall Guys circles, and for no reason really. It could provide a little bit of an oasis at the end. Who knows? But it's a sacred pillar. Nobody touches it. If they do, you get angry and you follow them. You're basically, everybody's just trying to find something. The PSA 9 is what they call it, the PSA 9 pillar, because you have 9 jumps on this pillar. Oh, but look at this. Puffly Jig just didn't quite get the line that they were looking for, I think. The ice physics not treating them well and falling into the slime. It's a 2v1 situation right now. And guess who's right behind Wraith? It's Be More Royal, right up in his business, and he's going to go for the grabs here.
Absolutely. And these ice physics, I mentioned them earlier today, they are brutal. They can really affect your jumps and what you're used to, especially if you're just used to playing hexagon. I remember when this season first came out, you're like, all right, it's like a different hexagon. And then you start trying to make the same jumps and you realize, wow, I cannot move like I can on hexagon at all.
So this is a very interesting tactic from Gas. No aggression happening here, but that's because they realize the NPC is eating up all of Wraith's platforms. There's nothing that Wraith can do. He's being harassed by this NPC just by existing. The only remaining players left are both players of Gas. It doesn't matter who survives now. They're going to be walking away with the first crown in the semifinals match.
Yeah, and absolutely no way they can time this out. At least I would be stunned. And here we are, as Gas is going to be taking home, as you mentioned, that first crown, that pivotal round 1 crown, and really, really just applying the pressure early in this semifinal matchup.
As far as the races go, as far as everything went in that episode, everybody was so evenly matched. They were trading gold medals back and forth. I think the Wall Guys and NPC took the gold medal, so it was just silvers and bronzes across the board. It all came down to the finals, and Gas is going to have a little bit of a step up going into the next episode.
Yeah, and this is a territory that Young Beans is not unfamiliar with. They last round, this is how they started out. And then they just bounced back and dominated round 2 and round 3. So they're going to have to dig deep into their pockets and do it again, now against Gas. And I wouldn't put it past them. They can definitely do that. So I'm interested to see how these round 2 and 3 shape up. But first, we got focus on round 2.
Yeah, exactly. The Young Beans, you're right. The Young Beans have obviously been here before. The Young Beans are very familiar with taking down tough opponents. They wouldn't be here if they didn't take out the number 1, like the grand champions of the last tournament, the winners, and also still holding the highest score in the tournament was Delete Fall Mountain in that first round with a 5,100 kudos score. You don't take down a team like that if you're not ready to take on Goliaths. So
absolutely not.
Gas is proving to be strong. But the Young Beans can fight big, strong teams like this.
Yeah, as we look at the score now bringing up, we have Gas with an 800 kudos lead. With we have some impressive scores here throughout. Wraith just a little behind with the 440, but that's still not a score to laugh at all. And then you have Puffly Jig with the 510, but it's Crazy Train and Royal having 545 and 1210. The crown definitely helped, but even just 545 is an insane amount of kudos to have for a round.
Yep, it absolutely is. And you can see, yeah, Puffly Jig and Wraith a little bit behind on the kudos by the looks of it. The Young Beans trailing in some of those races, I guess, in the wall guys specifically, but nothing that they can't recover from. 800 kudos in the grand scheme of things with 2 episodes remaining is nothing. As long as you can get that crown and kind of punch back, then this is anybody's game still.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to see what round 2 will bring for these teams. Maybe some opportunities, as we always look for. I want to see a rollout personally. I want to see a good rollout where the Young Beans maybe get a little aggressive and have the opportunity to take out one of the members of Gas. I just love to see it.
Yeah, Gas is kind of advertising itself as the premier Fall Guys esports group. They're an esports team. They include other players in this tournament, like we saw Krebs and 8. They're a part of Team Gas as well. You got AAA and Professa. I believe they're also a part of Gas. Let's take a little highlight into Gas while we're waiting for these episodes to start. Let's look at their player card for a second here.
Yes, we're going to look at Gas, and we're going to start with Crazy Train real quick. Winner of major Fall Guys League and several CMG tournaments. It's just so accomplished. You know, you look at these players, and clearly they know what they're doing, and they've played this game a lot. They've committed hours to this game and other games in the past, and the success just follows them wherever they go. They're just creating their own path of gaming success, and it's just carrying on right now. And hopefully they want to punch their ticket to the finals of FallapaTWOza.
And, you know, with this very strong start, they're shaping up to do exactly that. The Young Beans got to punch back. Let's see if they can do it here.
Yeah, we're going to be starting off with this round 1 and a good spawn for Royal right there. And we're getting the non-door version with the little spinners. Some people really love this. I personally, this is my favorite variation of it. I love it. I know that some people dislike it because once you get caught on the spinners, you can be stuck there for a while, potentially enough to just cost you a qualification.
You're absolutely right about that. You got to be very careful, right? But Be More Royal out in front, not at all intimidated by that. I think he was able to edge out the NPC there just barely for that gold medal. Let's see how all the other competitors come in here. And it looks like Wraith is going to get stuck behind a little bit. Going to have to settle with a bronze. That's 2 medal advantages right there going towards Gas.
Yeah, as I was talking about the spinners, I looked down at the bottom right and I saw Wraith get flung over to the far left from the spinners, and I think it's because they probably hit some NPCs as they were going for their jumps, and that's just what can happen.
Oh no.
Every
Crap.
time,
Thanks for the dude, crap. All good. Only the first round.
And now we're gonna look. The Young Beans just really need to step up these races and hopefully take home this crown, because they know that if they allow Gas to take the races and then the crown, I don't need enough. You can count on RNG for after that.
Yeah, the RNG is only going to get you so far, right? You gotta win these races. You gotta use your spawn points to the best of your advantage.
All right, it's right side.
And let's see what their spawn points are. And unfortunate spawn points for both of the Young Beans, both far right in the back corner. That's not what you want to see if you're trying to make up ground in races.
I think that this at least is one of the races that can kind of neutralize a little bit easier. Like you always see the best players kind of fizzle out to the front of the pack no matter where the spawns are, right? They know exactly the wheel pattern they need to take every single time, and you can see filing in a line on the right side, 1, 2, 3, 4, all of our competitors here.
Exactly, but you notice who is the 3 and 4 ends. This is the Young Beans, because although they know how to get there, not having that spawn advantage is just enough if the other team executes their spawn advantage.
Exactly.
And we're going to see the traditional ending here with just the 3 discs and the balls getting shot out of the cannon.
Who's going to take the gold medal there? It was actually really close between all of our players. I think Team Gas might have just edged out that gold medal. And again, if that's the case, just a little more advantage going their way. Kudos advantage sneaking in. It doesn't matter if Puffly Jig and Wraith come away with a crown. They're still going to be behind in the kudos going into that episode 3, right? So that's something they got to keep in the back of their mind.
Yeah, and we're going to see. So we have 31 people left. So unless someone leaves, we could get a potential of a slime climb here. We could get the rollout here. A position where you could eliminate one of the members of Gas if you're the Young Beans. Or we could get a perfect death match. You know, I'm still waiting for one of those today.
Perfect deathmatch still hasn't happened today. You're right. We've actually seen it a couple times in this competition. All of our players have been able to successfully dodge getting eliminated from the perfect matches that have shown up, but none today yet.
And we're going to be going on to a fruit shoot with the yeets as usual now. It seems like more often at least that we see the yeets. And when you don't see them, you're just like, really?
17 again, nice.
it just feels like they robbed you of something when you don't see the yeets. But I'll be interested to see here because this is a hard one. You can't really do much griefing. You can't be in a position where it's like, all right, we're going to take you out.
Unfortunate.
Because you just have to hope for fruit RNG to do that for you.
Yeah, the races make it very difficult to kind of do something to your opponents, right? You kind of have to hope that something like this happens. Crazy Train getting smacked in the face with a watermelon, but Wraith is right there with him too. So, you know,
Dude, I can't even jump. Like, what is
tough qualification here. 17 is actually not that bad, but there's a lot of beans right in front of Wraith. Is he going to be able to come in?
Yeah, Wraith needs to bring this, get this position.
All right, he's in.
Unfortunately, did.
Qual is a qual is a qual.
You hear him saying?
Yeah, Gas took home the gold.
Gas with another gold, and again, extending that kudos lead. Wraith can't have gotten a silver medal there. It's probably a bronze. Extending that kudos lead. It's all about the kudos. The young beans are, you know, they have this experience though, right? I don't doubt them at all because who did they go up against? You can't forget they went up against those defending champions. The defending champions are just infamous for bringing home the kudos. They have the world records in some of these race levels. They know how to deal with that. You counter it with the crowns. We're gonna have to see those crowns come out from Young Beans.
Absolutely. It's going to come down to crowns as we now move on to Hoopsy Heroes. And we're going to see our competitors here. You're wondering if Puffly Jig and Wraith, no matter what, are going to be eyeing up the gold ring, no matter where it's located, being like, we need to find a way to get a gold here. Just something to chip away. Because even if you get the crown, I feel like your best bet is to just have as minimal of that lead for Gas as possible.
Absolutely, yep.
Got it.
Good jump right there by Puffly.
Puffly getting that early gold medal. Now all they just need is one more ring to secure their spot in the finals. Are they going to be able to do it? Nice jump to the white ring to secure the gold medal in this Hoopsy Heroes. Now it's a 2v1 remaining for these players. Who's going to be next in?
Yeah, and I was curious to see if any of the young beans, if either Wraith or Puffly, we're going to designate one to kind of harass Gas a bit. You know, just like try and stop them and annoy some of their jumps. Maybe put them in a position where they have to sweat it out a little bit. And we're going to see the situation where they're both looking at this one gold.
Nice get.
Let's go.
Nice get.
And it worked out. Wraith harassed a bit. Wraith harassed Be More Royal. Be More Royal missed the jump afterwards because they were worried. And then now you have both of the young beans in.
Oh, they missed.
And we need Crazy Train.
Just Crazy Train remaining, you know, and they're going to start picking off some white rings. 5 out of 10 qualifying here. You got to be careful. You got to start picking up the pace a little bit. 5 out of 6. Only one more ring to go, and there's one right there.
That routing and those rings that fell the way they did for Crazy Train, you have to be feeling blessed in some sort of way, because that whole time, not one person qualified. We were looking at 5, and we were looking at the top right corner the whole time, and it didn't even go up once. And all those rings just fell.
I just wonder what game mode's gonna be here.
Solid finish from Crazy Train there to secure a spot into what is probably going to be the finals right now.
Could be a fall ball.
That's what we would expect here for sure. And now, if you're looking at the finals and you're Young Beans, what final do you want?
I don't know.
They're saying they don't know, but they're getting a Fall Mountain here, ladies and gentlemen.
You're in the front, they're in the back, I believe.
Oh, okay. You're hearing some of the strategy here. They're seeing where they're spawning. It looks like they have one of their players in the front row. It's Puffly Jig. In the back row right behind is Wraith. They might try to grab Puffly Jig right out of the gate here. Let's see.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, because you know, if you're Gas, you've been racking up these gold medals and you have the lead already. Stop them from getting a crown and you're in a pretty comfortable position going into round 3.
Puffly Jig is getting on a really good line up the side of the mountain here. NPC coming up the left side pretty evenly with them.
I got hit.
Oh, Puffly making a little bit of a
no.
misstep against the bumper who's out in
they
front
don't
now.
want it,
It looks like it's going to be Crazy Train on the right side, but there is an NPC coming up on the left side you can't forget.
Okay.
And the
okay.
NPC takes the crown.
Not bad, not bad.
Wow.
Not bad, not bad.
If you're Gas, you got to be liking that a little bit because you know that you've been getting those medals
Alright, I
over
guess
your
it's the
opponent,
third
right?
round
So
here,
this is a
right?
good position to be in if you're Team Gas right now.
Oh, absolutely. And that was an unfortunate situation there for Puffly, hitting the donut pole, sliding back and forth and just stopping their momentum. And then they got kind of flustered. You could see it. They went to the right. There's a ball falling down on the spinning hammers. They're looking for the hammers, and they're just in that situation. It's like, I don't know what to do now. They managed to get past it, but it was too little too late.
A little too late. And yeah, I think the chat is saying that maybe there was a little bit of grab action there. Maybe Royal was able to catch up and kind of catch Puffly Jig before he went past that hammer, and that's all it took to send him spiraling out. So
that would be an absolutely insane grab right there. I wouldn't even caught on to that grab, but then I would have missed it. But that's a very clutch grab that stopped Puffly from just what looked like a straight shot for potential crown right there.
excellent. Yeah, honestly, it was when you're the cool thing, the unique thing about this format, right, is that you don't necessarily need to win the crowns if you're in a strategic position, right? In that final, Gas knows that a win for the NPCs is kind of a win for them. It puts them in the power seat. It forces Puffly Jig into the corner. They have to put everything into this final episode where Gas can kind of relax a little bit and just play their game in order to still maybe come out with the win and secure their spot in the finals.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now the Young Beans, we said they've had their back against the wall before and they've been doubted before. Now facing a 945 kudos deficit going into round 3. Improbable, but not impossible for the Young Beans. They just need to get some things to roll their way.
You're right, and we've seen it before, right? The kudos is what matters, and in this situation, the kudos can change everything. If you're the Young Beans and you eliminate one of the Team Gas players early, that's one player less not getting kudos for the Gas team. Then all it comes down to is that crown. The kudos difference is a little too big right now if everybody makes the finals, but if they can change that in their favor, suddenly they're in the driver's seat again.
Yeah, my eyes for this scorecard went immediately to Be More Royal. 615 kudos, no crown acquired. Insane score right there.
Absolutely insane performance from Be More Royal, grabbing those gold medals for his team. And yeah, you don't see 600s very often, folks. 600 is a tough score to beat. Gold medals across the board for him. Puffly Jig only grabbing that one gold medal. You can see it in the 545, that gold medal in the Hoopsie Heroes. So fighting back a little bit, but the scores are just still a little bit too low to punch back at Gas.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see if the Young Beans can start off round 3. Let's see if they can, in this first race, take home a gold. That's what they first need to do. Just establish, hey, it's round 3. We're still here. We're still going to compete, and we're ready to chip away at this deficit and put ourselves in a position where that crown could be the difference maker.
Absolutely. Yep. The Young Beans are going to have to throw some punches now. They're really going to have to bring the heat. And I really want to see some grief. I really want to see it happen right now. If you're in the chat...
You have to. You'd imagine there will be.
Oh, yeah. There has to be, right? If you're in the chat right now, we always, in this Fall Guys community, we've got this spam this blank to root for blank. We want to see your hype in the chat. Who are you cheering for? Let's see the love in the chat right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Get the hype in. Get the... I see a lot of Gas right now. I see a lot of people rooting for Gas right now.
Yep, a lot of Gas love in the chat. Okay, so here's the thing, right? This bottom half of the bracket, the top half of the bracket has just been about dominating performances, right? All the way across from round 1 to round 2, right into the quarterfinals. It has been about who has the dominating performance. But the bottom half of the bracket has told a different story all the way through. The bottom half of the bracket has always been about upsets and coming from behind and making the impossible possible. Do you think that story is going to continue through here and the Young Beans are going to come back?
You know what? It's very possible, and I think it could happen. DoorDash round 1, it's not looking likely that Gas could get the gold medal, right? Because it could go either way. There's so much that could happen in DoorDash. If you can get a cheeky gold medal right here, if you're the Young Beans, and then possibly a silver, and if they fall back enough and get bronze, which is just out of your control to some degree, that could be big. Start off strong right now, Young Beans.
Start off strong, and it's hard to start off strong with a game like DoorDash being your first option, but up at the front of the pack with a couple NPCs is Puffly Jig, kind of just staying. This is the position I like to be in. You know, second or third, you're watching all of these other players kind of burst through the doors first so that you aren't necessarily making the wrong choices. You're letting other people do it, but that NPC was so powerful there, making those correct choices that the gold medal was kind of out of the question.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. It looks like all of our competitors actually pulled in silver. Oh, there's one bronze on Gas. So actually, that's the Young Beans chipping away very slowly. But that is benefit for them. They made up a slight gain right there.
Might be. Potentially.
That's right. And, you know, a little goes a long way. They just got to keep doing that.
Yeah, and with DoorDash, like I agree. I loved what Puffly was doing there. That's normally what I do, especially in a tournament scenario. And then you pray that one bean or two beans in front of you choose the wrong doors. And then you're just like, well, now I have the straight shot while you have to get back here. And then if the bean picks the middle door, it's only one in front of you. Then like, I'm taking this 50-50 shot. I need this gold. I know it's a risk, but we need to.
Absolutely.
What have I missed? Had to run and pick up milk. We are in game.
And now we're gonna probably see some mixed strats for you here for Ski-Fall. I feel everyone just goes with what they're comfortable with, and it'll be very interesting. If some people just slide down, try and go for the gold ring all 3 times. Some people just try to utilize, all right, we're gonna attack the second ring and then the third ring, and we'll do that twice, and then hopefully just end it on the top ring.
You can see Puffly Jig trying to go for that lower middle ring, not necessarily working out in their favor. They're going to respawn early. Meanwhile, down the left side, their teammate Wraith is just choosing to go for the 5-5-5 strategy here, as you can see. Just going for the golds at the end, trying to stay out of the way of all the other beans. But the person who's going to come out first, oh no, it was just about to be More Royal, but he got his dive eaten. First one in is Crazy Train with the gold medal. Wraith very shortly behind.
Yeah, Crazy Train clutching that out. I was keeping my eyes on Be More Royal because I also saw them going for that gold dive at the very end and just came up short in that silver ring. It looks like all 4 of our competitors are now in.
We'll see how the medal breakdown goes. Crazy Train is going to be happy with that gold medal, though. Kind of snapping back at the Young Beans. You know, the Young Beans took that medal lead in the first game, but handing it right back into the second game.
Exactly. As we wait for the NPCs to finish up here.
Yeah, we love them. We love them.
Medal breakdown coming your way. Everybody gets silver, except for Crazy Train gets gold. So making it up, you know, Crazy Train was the one who fell behind in that DoorDash. He's saying, don't worry, Be More Royal. I got your back. I got that gold medal. And we're all tied up in this third game.
Yeah, now we have 24 people left. So we could get potentially a 4-team game if it wants to give us team tail tag, or we could get a 3-team game here, which we do. And with Egg Siege, this is not what the Young Beans wanted to see. They wanted to see absolutely no team games throughout because this just minimizes their gain because they're going to get whatever score their opponents on Gas will get.
Yep, assuming that they all make it in, of course. You know, in Gas's position right now, you're looking at this team game and you're thinking, hey, if we lose here, that's not a big deal. Like that means we move into the finals, and that's a great thing. But rules of the tournament say you got to be playing these team games in good faith. We're not here to get to the team games and then watch the entire episode get spoiled by a little bit of poor sportsmanship. You got to make it to those finals. That's where the hype happens. That's what we want to see.
Exactly. And ever since the new egg throwing animation, getting the eggs into your basket from the bottom has been so much easier. And that's one that you love to see. I love seeing the dive egg throw, and it just goes whoop, straight up and in.
Yeah. So I actually, you know, they always tweak the physics of the game a little bit.
Yeah.
they always tweak the physics of the game a little bit whenever they release patches, whether that be the mid-season patch or the full updates for the seasons. There's always a little bit of a tweak, and in this season, the tweak was that egg physics have completely changed. You can throw them with a lot more force than you used to be able to, and I love the change so much. Not just in this game, but also in Egg Scramble. It changes the dynamic of the game completely. It changes the way you have to defend your nests, and it changes the way that you can be offensive. You know, we used to have this strategy where you'd like stand on the bridge and have somebody pass it to you. We called it the salmon ladder. Now you can do that all by yourself. You know, if you're on that bottom layer, you can toss it right into your own nest. No problems there. The offense has changed, the defense has changed, and it's changed the game and the way you play it for the better.
Yeah, and I absolutely love the change as well, because what it did the most for the teams that were down in the beginning, especially on a map like this, it's not over for you. In the past, it would be if you were the team trailing, it was so easy, and it would just be like everyone piles on you and there's no chance. But now it's easier to throw eggs out of baskets, and as you were just saying, so it at least gives teams a chance if they don't start off the strongest.
Oh, server lag. Big server lag.
Hearing a little server lag there.
And now they're holding on with the
Something is happening on Crazy Train's screen. I'm not really sure. He was like inside the wall with an egg.
What is this?
That's what they looked like they were trying to do the whole time, with the jumping and grabbing the ledge while holding the egg.
I've never ever seen that before. That was very strange.
Hearing a little complaints about the server lag, perhaps there.
Yo, Puffly.
Yeah. What's good?
And now Young Beans hopefully they're hopefully getting a good spawn here to try and snag a
I don't
gold,
think he got disconnected, right?
because this is gonna be a lower qual Freezy Peak.
9 qual.
9 qual.
He used the flippers on
9 qual, you're right. 9 qual, pretty low qual for Freezy Peak, but you expect all of these players to be pretty well versed. Crazy Train taking the front spot here.
Yeah, Wraith is getting bullied by those snowballs, getting shot out of the cannon, starting off very, very poorly, unfortunately, and just getting some bad RNG, and now they're just getting the fan in a low qual Freezy Peak. That could be a big difference maker, not just for the fact if they qualify, but for the fact of medal placement.
Sounds like somebody's rolling dice in the background. Am I hearing that correctly?
Are you? Sorry, that's my dog upstairs.
Oh, okay.
He's playing with the toy. I was hoping that wouldn't I could mute more.
Oh, no, you're totally fine. I thought maybe it was like Puffly Jig's like maybe roommate or one of their siblings playing Dungeons and Dragons, you know.
Now we're getting a pretty big snowfall here, so whenever we let Bolt back in, he gets really full of energy and just runs around. When he goes back in.
Bolt is rolling for initiative, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not the end of the world.
Yep.
Happy we made the top 4 though.
Yep, Ada, we know.
All right, 9 qualified. This is probably going to be a finals here, and you know, the Young Beans, they're holding their breath. We've seen this situation time and time again. They're going to be hoping for a game that they can double crown, but it's a hexagon.
I mean, you can double crown, but usually you have 4 teammates on the same page, and something's telling me that Be More Royal and Crazy Train aren't really going to be trying to get a double crown.
No, not with another 5 NPCs in the lobby as well. This is going to be a pretty chaotic hexagon, as we always like to see. Who's going to come out on top, though? Are we going to see the Young Beans punch back and get that crown, just like we saw 2 Peas in a Pod say, hey, we're here to play still. Even if we have to go into the 3rd place match, we got to end it on a good note going into that 3rd place match, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And as you said, like the key here is that even if you're not moving on, your day's not done. So you don't want to just like keel over and be like, oh man, you gotta get ready, because you're gonna be getting ready to play another match for 3rd place, for higher placement. And it's just, you know, can you shake it off? And that's the big thing. They're gonna have less time to shake it off and be like, all right, well that kind of sucks that we got knocked out of the top half of the bracket. But it doesn't mean anything, because you know, once you start 0-0 in whatever round you're in, whether it's the finals or the 3rd place game, anything can happen. Just play your game. Know that you're good and that you deserve to get there.
Yeah, I got ragdolled with Crazy here.
Alright.
We're all on.
A little bit of griefing happening here.
yeah, he tried to
Wraith
grief me
wasn't.
there, hard grief.
Oh, did you see that? Coming in behind Wraith was
man.
one of the teammates from Gas. Tried to catch him, but wasn't able to fully. And now Wraith has the advantage here. Tried to grab Be More Royal on the purple layer and missed. It's a story of not being able to kind of catch your opponents in this hexagon. Everybody on the
that's
yellow
what we're
layer or
seeing
the blue.
Pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, for sure. And we're seeing Wraith gonna run out of room here on this yellow position, now dropping down to blue. And it looks like we're gonna have most of our competitors on blue except Be More Royal, who has some space on the yellow. And this is great for them because they can scope out what they want to do here. Where do they want to go? Both those beans, well, one of them actually made it across and then fell. And that's very, very beneficial for Be More Royal now.
Yeah, that was a tough play for Wraith. Not able to make the jump across to that platform with the NPC, and now it comes down to everybody else. Crazy Train missing a jump, Be More Royal missing a jump, and Puffly Jig gonna come away with the crown here.
Yeah, good job for Puffly Jig. You know, showing off, like, even though the odds were against us, and there's, you know, we don't know what our races were like and our medaling, but no matter what, we took home a crown. And that's good momentum to bring into your third place game coming up if the projected score is what we think it is.
That's right. And, you know, we are basically seeing the exact same story play out in both of these semifinal matches. You know, the first matchup that we had one team that was really confident about those gold medals, but actually it was the other team kind of giving them the business and crushing those gold medals all the way through. Both teams winning a crown in their respective matches, but it's the team that wins the gold medals moving on through. Exact same story down here on the bottom side of the bracket. Puffly Jig brings home that crown for their team, but it's just not enough because they weren't bringing home the kudos in the same way.
Absolutely. And you kind of love to see the similar storylines going into these next matches because both teams that fell short going into the third place game coming in with the same previous experience from not too long ago. And both teams in the finals going to be going into the same situation or coming in from the same situation as each other. So it's like, who's gonna bring it? Who's going to be able to be like, you know what? It's okay. We dropped game 3. It's fine. Let's just bring it for the finals. They're going to have familiarity with each other too.
Exactly.
As we see here, just a 280 kudos difference. So close for the Young Beans, who made it and fought so far and beat so many odds.
Beating the defending champions, and the best that they're going to be able to walk away with now is the third place medal. And, you know, all 4 of these teams are in the money right now. We give money to all top 4 teams. But the Young Beans fallen short of the finals. And we were talking about Gas being the premier Fall Guys esports organization. Team Gas making it into the finals with more members of that organization, Team Gas. We're having an all-Gas finals, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be an incredible showdown in the finals coming your way in just about an hour and a half. But first of all, we got to take care of a third place here. 2 peas in a pod facing off against the Young Beans.
Yeah, we got some exciting matchups. You don't want to go anywhere, chat. You want to be here for both this third place game and these finals. You don't want to miss any of it. 2 peas in a pod versus Young Beans. This is going to be an incredible tight matchup that we have. And then who doesn't want to see Team Gas face off against each other, the organization go up against each other? Who doesn't want to see that? You know they're familiar with each other. You know this is going to be very, very close to see who brings home the crown in FallapaTWOza.
Yep. And honestly, yeah, look at the 2 semifinals matches and the scores between them. Like, you've got, like we said, parallel stories going on here. Team Gas knows how to bring home those gold medals, and they prove it. And that's, you know, it speaks to the format. The format is all about those kudos. Crowns. 1 crown for every single one of these teams in the semifinals, but the kudos is the decider, and it goes to Team Gas and Team Trippin' X.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited to see how this pans out.
Me too. Philly fan, it has been, or Philly, I guess I should say now. It's still stuck in my brain, my dude. I can't believe it. It's like when people say Dangers or they say DD. I'm like, oh man, it takes me back now. But Philly, it has been an absolute pleasure having you in the booth. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break. Do you want to say anything to the fans at home watching? Is there anything else that you want to say before we send you off?
Yeah, thank you so much, Dangerous, for this opportunity and allowing me to commentate. This is my first time commentating any event like this and any situation. So it's been really exciting, and it's been an honor to have this opportunity. Shouts to the production crew for doing a phenomenal job. This is a very, very well-run production, chat. Don't forget to spam that shoe for the production crew, and spam whatever you want for Dangers for putting together another successful event. And hopefully, chat, this will be the most exciting ending to a Fall Guys tournament yet. Stay
I sure
tuned.
hope so. Yeah, don't forget, don't be silly. Root for Philly as well. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break. Make sure you refill your water. Take a little stretch break, chat. Take care of yourselves. We'll be back in just a few short moments with a new commentator and our top 4 teams facing off in a third place match followed by a finals. 5 episodes each. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.